Let's bring in Avik Roy, senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute and former campaign advisor to Mitt Romney. Avik, with a welcome to you. Let's talk about John Kasich's function in the race at this point. Do you think that he thinks he really could emerge the winner at the convention?
Well, he may have a fantasy of being the candidate who comes out of a brokered convention, but there's just no way that'll happen. He has way too few delegates to be really competitive. If Trump isn't the nominee after the convention, it would have to be Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz is the only guy who's remotely close to the number of delegates that Donald Trump has.
And I know, Avik, that you're a former Rubio background advisor, so you have a little bit of perspective here now, a few days from the end of his campaign. What would you have told him to do differently?
You know, I don't know if I would have told Marco to do anything differently. I think that he ran actually a really good campaign. The challenge he had was that the field was so talented. Ironically, that hurt him, because Marco Rubio was the candidate who was acceptable to the broadest range of people in the Republican Party. So Jeb Bush had an incentive to run $30 million of ads against him. Ted Cruz had an incentive to run tens of millions of dollars of ads against him. When you have every single faction of the Republican Party against you because you're taking market share from them, you're kind of caught in the middle, and I think that's what happened to Marco in this race.
I know earlier this week you put out a call for the Rubio supporters to now push their support over to Ted Cruz. I'm curious why Cruz and not Kasich. Is it a numbers game for you, or is it ideology?
It's both. I mean, I think that Cruz more accurately represents the broad conservative Republican consensus on policy, whereas John Kasich doesn't. John Kasich famously embraced the Affordable Care Act's expansion of Medicaid in Ohio over and above the objections of his own legislature. That's something that most Republicans who care about policy are deeply concerned about. So Ted Cruz represents more of that policy consensus compared to Kasich, and I think that's where Rubio is as well.
Okay, Avik Roy, thank you so much for your